It's like oil and water, it just don't mix. If you're going to pray, pray. If you're going to worry, go and go worry. But you can't do both. But this day I choose to pray because I know I serve a Father who is in heaven that hears my voice. And I know that He will come to my rescue. Come on, come on. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. It doesn't matter what you're going through. You have the capability to say to mountain, be moved. And it must move in the name of Jesus.
Thank you for tuning in to Faces of Gospel TV. We're your hosts, Noreen.
And I'm Kareen.
And tonight, we are joined by the powerful man of God, Reverend Prophet Ryan Mark. Thank you for joining us tonight.
It's my pleasure.
How did Ryan Mark come about?
Well, my full name is Ryan Mark Reynolds. Well, for people who has been following me for a long time would know that my first artist name was Prodigy.
Yes.
And in 2005, when I was doing my first album, I remember my manager at the time, we spoke about a name change because you had a rock group and also a rapper called Prodigy. And of course, yes, it's gospel we're doing, but we were still thinking international, so we never wanted to have a name clash. So she said to me, why don't you just use Ryan Mark? Because Mark was my middle name. She says, it fits you, it suits you, it's clean, and you can't beat it. It's your name.
Yeah.
And then, so I decided, yeah, I like that. And I changed from Prodigy to Ryan Mark.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I've known you as an artist. I used to listen to your albums every morning. I still do.
Okay.
I used to know it from the start to the end. Yeah. So how has it been for you transitioning into your role as a minister?
Okay. Well, at first, it was a little bit just the thought of that boy, I forgot in a church on a platform every Sunday. That aspect of it was a little bit kind of rough for me. But at the time and in the season, I know that God was calling me, and I can't tell that I felt ready, but I just had to do what I had to do. But hand in hand, I see it as I get the best of both worlds. And the reason why I would say that is because the music is more about the limelight, the cheers, the backstage, and the pastoral is more upfront with the people. People would have to pay to come and see Ryan Mark at a concert. And if they want to see me, them just come down to 80 Apple Tree Road in Kingston, Jamaica, Pier and Art, and I'm there. But at the end of the day, it is still ministry. But one thing I can tell you though, the pastoral takes much more in terms of just studying, being prepared. Not that you're not supposed to study and be prepared while you're doing music, but truth be told, the music was a little bit easier to run on a stage because the beat is already there, the popularity is already there, people already know the songs. But when you are preaching the word, you have to know the word. You can't play with that because God will hold you accountable if you're leading people in the wrong direction. But the long and short of it, I enjoy both. And even since I've been preaching, the music even feels so much easier. So it has helped me in a major way in terms of enhancing the music.
Well, tonight we sat and listened to you minister.
Yes.
Here at the Maranatha Faith.
Yeah, Ministries
International. And it was amazing. I am truly blessed. My heart was blessed.
Hope you're not just saying it because
No. My heart was truly blessed. You said so much things that really stuck out to me.
No, sometimes even church, this is what happens. Pastor is preaching, he's prophesying to this person, and everybody has said, "Oh, you look like he might get all the attention. I want a word though." But sometimes the same word will fly.
Come on.
You know what I say? When Ima prophesy to him, you can't take the prophecy for yourself.
That's right.
Because sometimes we are so caught up.
Yes.
Wanting to get all the attention.
My God.
Yes.
When sometimes all you need is a touch.
Amen. Hallelujah. Amen.
Just
A touch.
a touch.
And just watching you minister, I'm like, this is the guy that can really get the church packed with young people because you're so real.
Right.
And that's what young people want. They love realness. You know, they love when pastors keep it real.
Right.
They don't want to come and they leave like, I didn't understand one thing he said.
Right.
But with you, you are so clear and you demonstrate. I really love that. And you said there was one thing that really stuck out to me, and I made sure I shared it on my WhatsApp. You said we are living below the standards of who we are.
Yes.
I think that line
Yeah.
is so strong because it's the truth.
Right.
We underestimate, ourselves,
Right.
and then we allow fear to hold us back
Right.
instead of doing what we're called to do. What
Right.
message can you send to young people, especially young people that are struggling, with their calling?
Wow. What I would encourage young people to do is just to hold on. Hold on, because I know we're young and we're hip, and sometimes if they don't look like the hype, what kind of, as the Bible would say, patience is a virtue. And as I would say in the message that I preached earlier, is what we focus our faith on. And things take time to flourish and to develop. And you just have to be around like-minded people. So if you have other young people who truly wants to seek God and grow in God, associate yourself with them, and you'll realize that you have good people to roll things off, to have fun with, and all of that. So at the end of the day, we're never too young to die. We're never too young to get any form of sickness. Likewise, we're not too young to praise God, because people have a tendency to say, boy, I'm young now. So, just like how I would think that, okay, when I'm 50, I'll do the pastor. Not now. But then, you see, God has to use me as an example now for other young people to show them that you don't have to wait till you're old to do the will of God. And it's amazing just to see how God has used me to pull so many young people to the kingdom. And like I said, I'm a very straightforward person. I keep it real. I'm not afraid to share my own struggles, even in the context of just my marriage. Of course, you're not going to tell everybody every detail.
Yes.
But I'm the type of person that will say, boy, me and my wife argued last night, but guess what? Gospel said I could preach this morning, you understand? And it encouraged people to know that, boy, oh, Jesus, I'm just go some wife a while ago and I never go come church. A good thing I come because the pastor just go so few months. So, you know what I mean? So people get to relate,
Yes.
So young people, just keep your eyes on God, and just know that He has a great plan and purpose for your life, and just give Him that opportunity to work, and He will work and He will open doors for you.
Amen.
So tonight you talked about faith. You said that faith moves God. Our situations don't move God.
Right.
Our faith does.
Right.
I remember you sharing your testimony about when you and your wife were trying to have a child. You had Ruth,
Yeah.
and she passed away. And I know you did the song "Weep."
We. Right.
Can you talk about how your faith moved you, or some decisions that you made or did not make during that time that helped to grow where you are right now?
Right. Well, wow. When in that season when we lost Ruth, it was a very rough time. And truth be told is that I would tell myself that I don't manage pressure well, but then people around would say you manage pressure well. And truth be told, when you're going through situations that you can only be strong, then it's like it happens so naturally. So even though that was a very rough time, because of course my wife was the one, that carried the baby for 7 months. And, so she was taking it very hard. So for me to take it as hard as she did at that time, then would be in a position where nobody could help anybody. So it's like I had to be the strong one, And to be honest with you, it was just the Spirit of God who enabled me to be strong throughout that time. Sometimes when I look back at the situation, I said, how did I manage? Sometimes it's always looking back that you ask, how did you manage? But while it was going on, it's like faith was just activated. It's like, okay, this is something that I was not planning for, but guess what? I have to do what I have to do. So it's like naturally you become strong at that time. Probably after everything has passed, you go like, wow, this rough enough. But at the time, you don't even get that opportunity to think about it that way because faith is in action. And when faith is in action, they can't think nothing but faith.
How do you balance being a reverend, an artist, a husband, a father?
Well, of course, it's one person but different roles, and it's just a matter of balance. You know, you have to know when it's time to deal with the church and the congregation. Then you just have to know too, like, all right, we're going to enough time, family time, or wife time,
Yeah.
children time, and stuff like that. And music is the same thing because you see, music, to be honest with you, music is more enticing in terms of the whole creative aspect of it. You know, rhythm and beat
Yes.
and excitement. And I find myself in recent time that when I go in the studio, I have to literally talk to myself to get out to go study for church. You understand? And because I have a home studio, what I have to do, sometimes when I go in there, I have to get ready and leave the house and go to the church office so I can focus. If I stay in the house, I stay in at the studio. That's how I love it. So sometimes it becomes a little battle, but at the same time, you know, I mean, being a mature person, you know, priorities, priorities. So, you
Yeah.
know, Friday, Saturday before Sunday, those are the days that you really put aside to make sure you study and get the word in for Sunday morning, you know, and then on Monday, Tuesday, kind of chill a little bit in terms of studio. So it just come down to self-discipline. You know, it's not the easiest thing at times, especially when you have that great passion for music.
True.
But it's just about self-discipline and control. And you know what I mean? Everybody get them fair share. Wife, children get them fair share. Church get them fair share. Music get the fair share. Preaching get the fair share. So everything balanced.
God.
God.
Right? Who could it be but God?
How do you keep your young people grounded, and how do you promote them to keep seeking after God?
Right. Truth be told, I must give all the credit to the Spirit of God. You know, and I think it's the Spirit of God that resides with me. And then I share this experience with them so they can relate, like, wow, Pastor went through that, I'm going through that now. And then I think what puts the icing on the cake is that when they are going through, because I'm so open with them, they end up being open with me. You know, because, and even for me, sometimes I find it very weird when you can have young people come to you and say, Pastor, I fallen in fornication last night. Like, gosh, when I was falling in fornication when I was young, I dared not go to my pastor and say that, like, I'm afraid. So to have them come and say that to me, it just shows who we are, you know, who we are as a church and who I am in terms of what I've been through. And then I can speak to them and say, so what happened? And them can show me and I say, but, you know, sister, I moved it wrong. You know, so if you didn't do that got up now, we talk about it and thing and say, alright, you're going to go on. That and that, if you shift that, if you go move that and thing. And you know, at the end of the day, sometimes these are people who serve, and I don't take them out ministry either. I don't. And let me tell you why I don't take them out ministry, because when I was messing up, if God had took me off, where would I be today? So my thing is, just like the lady found in adultery, go and sin no more. But why take them and put on a backbench for what? Like, God has not disqualified them, then why should I disqualify them? They know that I don't condone to the act.
Yeah.
You understand? But at the same time, why is it somebody fall and you put them on a back? For what reason? I don't understand it, you know what I mean? But for me, now if it's a case if somebody is literally doing something, know what they're doing, they don't care, giving God a bad name or whatever, then I'll put it to sit down, don't get me wrong. But if you made an honest mistake and you are sorry about it and you have that heart of repentance, just like David that we spoke about earlier in the service, then go on, sin no more, continue doing God's work. And that's how I keep it with them, and I don't think it can get any better than that, because that is love, that is grace. And guess what? God has showed me so much grace. So who am I now to withhold grace from those that I can extend it to?
Oh, yeah.
So that's it.
And restoration is a big part of being.
Definitely. You know what I mean? You talk to them because they know that I can be a very serious person when it comes to righteousness and holiness. But at the same time, like I tell you, grace must abound. So we must extend that grace to them, because I would not feel good to know that I mess up before my Heavenly Father and He takes me and tosses me in a corner. So I try not to do that.
I think if God did that, then all of us would be at the back.
That's what I think too.
Because at some point in our lives, we all are falling short. It may not be a big sin, as some people consider some sins bigger than
No,
others.
sin is sin,
Sin
and I'll
is
put it this
sin.
way: sin is sin.
Sin is-
But certain sin carry greater consequences. But sin is sin. So if you come and you're in adultery, if God comes in adultery, you're going to hell. If God comes in a little white lie, you're still going to hell. Sin is sin, but some sin carry a greater punishment.
2011 was the last album that you released.
Right.
Israel.
Israel, that's it.
Can you tell us a little bit about what's, if you're working on something right now, and what we should expect from Ryan Mark, 2018 or onward?
Wow. Well, as you said before, the last album was Israel in 2011, which was a very hardcore album. You know what I mean? It was me a brief for the year. Yeah. All that got drawn night to me. Already done. Word of prayer. You know what I mean? Money can't buy love. Worth it. And it was a very good album. But from then, I've not done any form of project in terms of a solo album. The good news is that I am working on an album right now, like right at this present time, present age. It definitely should be out in this year, 2018. I've decided not to pressure myself. It might be like a 12-track album, because truth be told, we have a tendency to put out 18-track albums, but there's no way we can promote so many songs one time. So like a 12-track album, I think is good, and it will be a balanced album, meaning people get all the sides of Ryan Mar that they are accustomed to. So you'll get the hardcore, like the God of my back hardcore, and then you will get the already done, the Sing J type of songs, like the Right With You type of vibe.
Yeah.
And then and this part of it now is different for me. I think I may have like 2 or 3 worship tracks, because truth be told, what has been happening with me now, because I'm in church so much, my voice is developing. So
Come on now.
and a lot of worship songs are flowing out of the atmosphere.
Come on now.
So I'm gonna sing like about 2 or 3 worship songs, and I'm not worried about them. I know they will sound good.
Is there anyone that you're hoping to collaborate with? I know you say you haven't really focused on solo album.
Right.
Is there anyone in mind that you'd like to collaborate with in the future? Not necessarily for your next album, but
Right.
in the future.
I don't have anybody on head per se, but I must say Wayne Marshall, because Wayne Marshall is a good friend of mine, and recently has been coming to church as well, and just basically preach a few bars on his Glory to God song.
Yes.
That's doing very well. It's a very proper written song. We basically sat together and kind of put together. He did most of the writing, but I just kind of tweaked somewhat. So definitely would want to do another song with him for sure. In terms of collaboration, I've done song with Kevin Downswell, DJ Nicholas, the usual suspects already, Jermaine Edwards, my brother Gotti. So if I'm supposed to do any form of collaboration, I'll be more thinking overseas, like a Travis Green. If I could do something with a Travis Green,
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Yes.
Yes, that would be amazing.
Yeah, something with a Todd Delaney as well.
Yeah.
I'll work something there, and can I tell you, I love white worship. Say like
Me too.
Contemporary.
yes, say like the ill songs. Oh gosh.
Yes.
I'll give anything just to breathe on one of their track, like just to go. I said, simmer there, my innight. So like a ill song, Bethel, elevation worship.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Those.
And you talked about, being able to spend time when working on an album. What gives you your inspiration? Where does it come from? Is it from, certain type of worshipers? Is it from the Bible? Where does your inspiration come from?
Inspiration comes from everywhere, Inspiration comes from reading the Bible. Inspiration comes from just thinking about God and His goodness. Inspiration comes from struggle. Like somebody asked me today, where did that song Right With You flow from? And that came from a struggle. Well, obviously, I want to be right with you. I was messing up real bad. I know, and that shows that God can take a mess and turn it into a message that delivers so many people, because that song is like people all-time favorite where I'm concerned, that really touch the core. that really wants them to be right with God. So songs come from just standing here, you talking to me, probably saying something, and it like a light bulb go off, and like, wow, that's profound, And so the inspiration comes from everywhere, everywhere.
And I noticed that you use a lot of the experiences that you've had before. Because when I think about the song, every morning we
Yes.
pray now.
Step on the road, the ladies up there.
Yeah, that's like you look at it and you can envision it, and I'm like,
Right.
man, like some of these things, like man, like I'm thinking these things, like
Right.
I'm wondering
You're
if I should
picturing
do
it.
this or go over the wall. Just like this is some real hardcore truth.
Right.
What people are handling.
Right, and that's where I keep it, because the truth be told is that when we make the music, we want people to identify with it.
Yes.
And for me, I don't do a good job at telling other people's story. I do a very good job at telling my own story.
Exactly.
And I'm never ashamed to put my experiences out there, because I'm of the understanding that whatever I'm going through or whatever I've been through, it was never about me. It was about gaining this knowledge and understanding so that I can help others, so I'm not afraid to share what I'm going through, what I've been through, once it can help others, then I'm good. Alright. So me I pray for the area. Hey, it's no surprise when you see me in your area. So me I pray for the area. Hey, the world need to know that Jesus Christ is Savior. That's an old song. New song. New song. And this I love in my face, so me can't ignore it. Sweet like a fast car when you floor it. To all the love set up every morning, me get up coming like rain, a fall, gotta pour it. And this I love it at the sweetest. But tell you the truth in the weakness. And this I love you at the best, yes. So me have to confess, Jesus, you are the king and the love of my life. When I'm with you, I feel so alive. That's it.
Yes.
We want to thank you so much for joining us again today.
It was.
And we look forward to everything that God will continue to do in your life.
Amen.
And we hope
Amen.
we will be there every step of the way with you, because we have to
Yes,
be behind each other.
We're stronger together.
Yeah.
Follow Ryan Mark on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube,
Facebook,
Facebook,
Snapchat.
Snapchat. I don't know if
Everything.
you have a Snapchat. But we are Faces of Gospel TV, where we fuel Christ-like passion. And again, we're here with Reverend Ryan Mark. And it was a pleasure. And remember, guys, to follow us on YouTube,
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
Remember to press the subscribe button
On
somewhere
YouTube,
down there.
Subscribe,
All right.
like.
And we're looking forward to having a great time with you guys again. Peace out.